Rich here, and welcome to my 4S two-wheel drive Granite 4x4 BLX. Obviously, all is not well with the ARRMA Granite today. I appear to have completely lost rear-wheel drive. So it's time to take it in the workshop, strip the Granite 4x4 down and find out exactly what's wrong. Now remember guys, I do this stuff so you don't have to, so I'm going to show you exactly what's broken, exactly what I'm going to fit to rectify the problem. So if you want to build the same spec ARRMA Granite 4x4 4S guys, you'll be able to after watching this video. Okay guys, well, joking aside, I just have two-wheel drive on the car now, which means that something has gone wrong either in the gearbox or on the rear diff, or a combination of both, but we should get the lid off in just a second to see. Anyway, future mods on this cars guys, I have got the MX28 Badlands with 70mm hex on there. I've got the 70mm hex adapters to fit on there. Why have I only got two tyres? Because the model store sold two to somebody else when they should have sold all four to me. But these things happen to us guys, so they should be with me by the time the parts for this have arrived. Anyway, time to get the other camera out and strip this thing down and see just what the damage is. As I say, I do this stuff so you don't have to. I've got a 4S, for anyone that's not seen this car before, got a 4S ARRMA ESC and a 4S motor in there that you would fit to something like the ARRMA 4S Outcast on it. It has the same gearing as fitted to the 4S Outcast, but when searching the internet last night, I discovered you can fit a much bigger gear to this car, but more on that in a second. Anyway, let's get the body off. What? You've got to be kidding me guys, this is just one part of the car that's broken. Keep watching to see just how bad the rest of the damage is, and I've discovered something inside this car that's going to make it an absolute monster to drive when I get this 4S ARRMA Granite working again. Okay, all joking aside guys, what do we think the damage is going to be? Been running these cars on these Avonic 4S packs, which I have to say are proving absolutely superb. Two of these, just cheap as chips, highly recommended, and so much punch is ridiculous. Straight down to business boys and girls, we need to look at both, I think, the rear diff and this gear casing in here. And immediately guys, I can see a little sliver of metal down here, which is not good, as that has got to be the at least half of the bearing that should be safely secured in here. So whatever this is, it is not going to be good there. Anyway, to get to this, simply got to undo one screw under here, slide that back and pull the drive shaft out of the way. So let's do that right now. Now guys, I can tell you immediately we've got problems in here, because when I'm pulling this shaft back, all of this black part here, which should be remaining in place, is wanting to drift away with the car. That whole piece is coming out. That red piece should be staying back in there, so this is definitely not going to be good. Okay, with the drive shaft out the way there guys, look, that is the bearing there shot to pieces. Now one thing that I've thought is, this is maybe needs the bearing carrier on here, because this doesn't have the little center bearing carrier that some of the ARRMA 3S cars do. Like the ARRMA Senton 3S is longer and that has that little bearing carrier on there. And I'm wondering, if anyone's wondering what the problem is that's caused the damage here, because this is the same gearing ratio on here as the 4S Outcast is, and it's the same diffs both front and rear on there. The only thing that is different is the slipper clutch mechanism inside here, but the gear ratio is exactly the same. But I did notice last night when looking at this, as stock, it's got something like a 13 tooth pinion on this, or 15 tooth on that. You can fit a 20 and a 26 tooth pinion. Now they claim this car does 50 out the box, and I got it doing at about 50 miles an hour out the box with that stock gear fitted. But you can fit two bigger ones on there. Now there's a thought, but not with these tyres. Whoa! Richie, whoa moment. When it comes to those tyres guys, these stock ones are obviously going to balloon like crazy if I fit higher gearing on there, as at 50 there, like on the max anyway. But I'm most interested to see just how fast this thing would go with a 3S setup on that higher speed gearing on there. But more to the point, I could either fit the ARRMA Typhon speedrun tyres that have got an counter behind me to this, but it's got the 17mm hexes on, or even, thought for the day, if I wanted to stay with the monster truck tyre thing, take the ones off the ARRMA Italian. These are belted ones on the rear, and the normal stock ARRMA Italian ones on the front, also good for 70 miles an hour. Now putting them down on the side there, They are a little bit bigger in terms of the diameter, but they're not that much bigger, so maybe worth considering giving this a go on there. Should I try that or not? Have you say in the comment section below. Anyway, back to the Granite. But one thing is for sure is I'm going to put the bearing carrier on order to fix that over the middle there, because I suspect what has happened is this shaft has started to vibrate, and as that has vibrated up and down there, yeah, that's what's happened there, boys. Look at this. The bearing is there's just nothing left of the bearing. It's just in little bit pieces of metal on here, and this whole thing has come loose. I'm wondering what state that is. Little bit of wear on there. I think we might get away with reusing that. Now zooming in again, guys, this little metal bit here should not be moving like that, because the bearing, or two bearings rather, should be holding that in place, but the bearing has completely gone. So I'm guessing vibration from this shaft under heavy load has caused that to come adrift, which is, so I'm definitely going to fit that bearing carrier on there. Anyway, time to remove this, as I've a feeling at the back here we may have some issues as well. Okay, with that motor assembly out, where the input shaft goes into, that seems fine. That end not connecting to anything this end, so I'll have to get it apart, but this should not be floating around like that, so we've got something fairly major has gone adrift in there. 3 screws to get it apart, so let's see what the damage is. But first of all, let me check that rear end out. Okay, boys and girls, this is not good news. Pay careful attention to this moving part here, because whilst both rear wheels are moving, that little shaft, the rear input diff shaft, should be moving as well. That is not moving, therefore that is not necessarily that good news. So the rear input diff shaft has lost a tooth or two, or the big ring on the diff inside of here has lost a tooth or two, or both. But fairly easy job to replace it, thankfully. But first of all, let's take a look inside this motor. Okay guys, before I take the gearbox case apart, have your guess in the comment section below as to what you think it might be. Is it going to be the gearing? Is it going to be the slipper clutch? Is it going to be something else completely? Because the answer surprised me, but keep on watching to see. But do have a guess in the comment section below. Interested to see what people think. Anyway, let's see how bad the House of Horrors is. Okay guys, last screw out. What damage have we got in here? Okay. Well, that's not good for a start on there. Not only is the rear diff not working on here, if you look there, the part of the slipper clutch is completely sheared away. The remainder of it is stuck in there, still in the bearing, which is intact in there, guys. So that piece should be attached to that, which is definitely not a good sign. Now, just clean that up, guys. I have to say, I think that's something. I think it's either 13 tooth on there or 15 tooth. I think yeah, because it's got 15 tooth. But this has got 13 tooth on there. But we've got positions a 20 tooth and 26 tooth. But this car has done 50 on the 3S motor with that stock gearing. I've not changed any positions in here. So while I've been looking at this, I've actually gone and ordered the 26 tooth pinion to fit to this. Now the thing about that 26 tooth pinion, that's going to mean this car can be on 3S, will be able to be pushed much faster than 50 miles an hour. Goodness only knows what it's going to be able to do on this 4S pack with a 4S motor on board here. But these tyres would be a recipe for disaster, because they're ballooning like crazy at 50. With those 17mm hex adapters fitted, not only am I going to be able to fit the Proline Badlands to the car, I'm also going to be able to fit some of the 17mm speedrun tyres to the car. So thought for the day, guys, when we next see this car running, I am going to put 26 tooth pinion in there and the speedrun tyres on the car. I have a feeling this thing is going to be 65, 70 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more, not quite sure on there, guys. Speedrun tyres, smaller diameter, but with just 26 tooth pinion on, 4S power. Oh mama, is this thing going to fly? Anyway, you don't want to miss that, and don't forget to subscribe. But more to the point, down to the damage. So we need a new slipper clutch setup on here. I am tempted to order the one for the 4S cars, which also means ordering a metal spur gear for fitting on there. You'll note all the teeth on it are absolutely fine. There's not suffered any damage whatsoever, but it has just simply sheared off there with the power. Okay guys, I've loosened the diff cover, so we're about to see what the damage is inside. Now, with my hot racing drive shafts, I'm going to need to release the inner collars in order to get the diff out. Okay guys, diff released. What have we got? everything on here appears to be good, which means it's got to be the diff input shaft that has worn teeth. Okay guys, now to film the problem with the rear diff, I've had to put a couple of X drivers through it in order to see what the problem is. Now you see I can turn this and it's not moving there, so the issue is either the wear on these teeth on here, or I've lost a couple of teeth down in there. Look, it looks like there we might have got one tooth missing on the inside. Difficult to tell without totally removing it, which I'm going to have to do anyway. But I think part of it may have just worn from the power on there. So maybe I need to put a few shims in there or something to keep it a little more stable. But we'll get it apart, see what the damage is. But other than the new diff input shaft on there, doesn't look like the car needs too much work. Well, that's let the clutch aside, obviously. Okay guys, so we have got to the heart of what the problem is as to why I've only got two-wheel drive on my 4S ARRMA Granite 4x4 BLX. Got all the parts on order already, including the centre bearing support for this drive shaft, because I think that's part of what's caused the problem. This is beginning to get a little bit too much movement on there, and that's then rippled through. This has moved too much in the shaft in here, and the problem has sort of escalated itself purely from the vibration from that shaft. That's my gut feel on the thing. Anyway, more to the point, I've got the 26 tooth pinion on order for this thing, which means this thing, when it's fully sorted, is going to go like an absolute rocket ship. If it does 50 on the 13 tooth pinion, it is going to be an absolute monster on the 26 tooth pinion, but not with these tyres on. Anyway, you are going to see this car up and running again very soon, so if you don't want to miss the video of this running on its speedrun tyres, then don't forget to subscribe. But I'm also going to fit the tyres from the ARRMA Italian, which are belted tyres, onto this as well, to see just how much speed we get out of it with the full-on big diameter monster tyres on it, because I have a feeling this is being an absolute flyer. Anyway guys, as ever, have your guesses in advance of that test as to what it's going to do on the speedrun tyres and what it's going to do with the ARRMA Italian tyres fitted to it. Think about it guys, I might even give a small prize away to the person that guesses close to the maximum speed for the speedrun tyres and for the ARRMA Italian belted tyres. So have your guess in the comment section right now. I'm not worried about showing stuff when it goes wrong with a car, but more to the point, I like to show you how to fix it and when it goes right as well. Anyway guys, hope you found this video of interest. If you did, then don't forget to subscribe. Well, thumbs up if you like this video guys, post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video, and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.